Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today, we're looking at a story many of you might know, The Honest Woodcutter, often called a tiny tale with a big message. And our mission really is to sort of unpack that message, find the shiny lesson inside this pretty simple narrative.
Yeah, and what's so interesting, I think, is how these really straightforward stories embed quite fundamental principles. We're sort of exploring how certain actions, like the ones in this tale, are almost promised to bring a kind of magic into your life.
Right, like a cause and effect.
Exactly, a link between behavior and, well, unexpected rewards.
It's a powerful idea, really.
Definitely. Okay, so let's get into the story of Rehan. We start in this quiet village right by a forest. And Rehan, he's a poor woodcutter, works incredibly hard, but, barely makes enough for food. His whole life depends on his work.
Day-to-day existence.
Totally. And then comes the pivotal moment. It's a hot afternoon. He's chopping wood near a river, a sparkling one, apparently.
Nice detail.
And his only axe, just slips, falls right into the deep water.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you can just hear his cry, right? How will I earn now? Just sheer panic.
And that's the trigger, that moment of loss. Because right then, the story shifts. Suddenly the water bubbles up. Poof, poof. Exactly. And this shiny fairy appears. And she's holding not his old axe, but a golden one.
Wow.
Yeah. And this immediately poses a question, doesn't it? What's actually being tested here? It's not just a random magical event.
Right. It feels like a setup. So the fairy asks him straight up, Rehan, is this your axe? And Rehan's response is instant. No, that's not mine. He even adds, mine was old and rusty. No hesitation.
Doesn't even pause to think about the potential gain.
Not at all. But the fairy pushes a bit. She asks, are you sure? You can take this golden axe if you like, offering it again.
And this is the absolute core of it, I think, the real test. Rehan sticks to his guns.
He says, no, I cannot take what is not mine.
Yeah. And that choice, refusing something valuable that isn't his, especially when, seemingly no one would know, that's integrity in action. It really is. It's about what you do when you think no one's looking.
Precisely. It highlights that internal moral compass.
And the payoff for that honesty is immediate in the story. The fairy smiles. She's clearly impressed.
Right.
She says, your honesty is shining brighter than gold. Which is a great line.
Yeah, it is.
And then she tells him, you may keep the golden axe and your old one, both.
He gets both.
Yeah. So Rehan goes home, happy, big smile, and 2 axes in his bag, his practical old one, and this valuable new one.
So the direct lesson from the source material is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Even when no one's watching, being honest brings magic into your life.
Right, the magic.
Yeah, but what is that magic, really, beyond just, getting a golden axe? If we think about it more broadly, it connects to ideas like integrity, trust, maybe even social capital.
Ah, okay, so not literal magic, but the positive outcomes of being trustworthy.
Exactly. Think about it in terms of, say, behavioral economics. Consistent honesty builds trust. Trust opens doors, creates opportunities, strengthens relationships. That's a kind of real-world magic, isn't it? It's a long-term advantage.
That makes sense. It's not always about an instant shiny reward. It's about building something more sustainable. Reputation, maybe.
Precisely. Reputation, reliability, the sort of goodwill that accrues over time. The story simplifies it to an immediate reward, which makes the point clear.
But in life, it might be more subtle or take longer.
Often, yes. And sometimes, let's be honest, being honest can have short-term costs, right? It's not always the easy path.
True. Telling an inconvenient truth, for example.
Exactly. So the magic might not be a golden axe appearing right away, but the principle holds, I think. That consistent practice of honesty builds that foundation of trust.
And that foundation leads to maybe less tangible, but perhaps more meaningful rewards down the line, like respect, strong connections.
Stronger relationships, absolutely.
Yeah.
Deeper self-respect, too, knowing you acted with integrity. And a reputation that, well, it precedes you in a good way. That's incredibly valuable.
So Rehan's simple story is actually a pretty powerful illustration. Character is built in those moments of choice, especially the unseen ones.
It really hammers home that point.
A great reminder.
And maybe that leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on. If this tale is right, if honesty does bring this magic, how do you actually see that manifest in your own life? What does that magic look like when it's not a literal golden axe? How do you recognize the real-world value, the compounding benefits of your own integrity? Something to think about.